Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Ages of Mayhem stream. At this point, we're just playing it. Just checking out some other stuff, talking to people who worked on missions and stuff now, because we haven't really been able to, touch on missions too much. But yeah, hi, welcome. We are Volition, just the two of us. We comprise all of Volition.
All the important people.
There's another 198 or so outside this room, trust me. But hi, I'm Josh Stinson, the video editor and stream host here. And today we also got...
Randy Nash, senior technical designer.
And yeah, we're just going to pick up for where we left off with our save file from the past couple of streams, just playing the normal Steam release. And we'll be going through probably the first two missions of the Heaven Sent arc today. We'll be saving the third one for later, just in case some other plans line up with that. So yeah, just depending how long it takes, the stream might be a little bit on the shorter side. I forget exactly how long it takes to get through both of those missions. It's been a while since I've played it's been a couple weeks since I played them, so.
Which is probably a benefit.
Yeah.
Once you have to play through these missions dozens and dozens and dozens of times,
yeah,
you end up playing through them in 2 minutes each.
Yeah, it's super surreal to play the game normally, just because so many people are testing specific things in missions, or with me, I have to just get certain bits of missions recorded for trailers or internal videos. There were times when we were in mid-development of the game, there were parts where it was the game was still too early on for me to have to make videos or cutscenes or anything for the game, because everything was still pretty up in the air. So instead what I was doing with my time was playing through the missions so that other people could go I'm too busy playing myself, what is this mission like right now? And they would just pull up my videos.
Yes.
And so yeah, there were certain points where it's we had missions that were super crash heavy because they were still really in development. So there were parts where it's okay, let's see if I can get this playthrough this week, grab a new build, and then try and get around whatever bug was making it crash and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember playing through a couple specific missions over and over again, just trying to see if I could get the whole thing together. So I think Heaven Sent was one of those, one of the Heaven Sent missions. Probably the third one.
Probably.
The third one was...
Yeah, the third one especially was a bit of a thorn for a little while.
Yeah. It was, yeah, that was that one that we're using for a vertical slice? Was it that mission?
We used part of it.
We used part of it.
Yeah,
right, it was the laser part.
Yeah, the laser part,
yeah.
And then I think it went from the laser part into, maybe straight into the dungeon at that point.
Right, yeah, I think that's what it was. Oh, right, we unlocked Gat last week.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, because I had to, we're kind of out of sequence with the story beats right now, because I had to skip some Heaven Sent stuff to unlock Gat, so we missed thankfully we can just replay cutscenes and all that, so we can just see the briefing for Heaven Sent here.
We're detecting a massive surge in the soul energy grid. The source is the fusion reactor exhibit.
Gremlin thinks Hammersmith is the most likely culprit, and Rama confirmed he is now in Seoul.
Hammersmith is the nom de guerre of Magnus Thoresen, a designer of weapons.
Yeah, this is one of the first,
At one time,
at least from my memory, complete, set of missions we had where I could play it and not have it crash or anything. And that was really cool to see, because for a really long time, the game just, when you're working on a game, it just feels like a whole bunch of disconnected floating bits.
Yep.
And you can't really see the whole of the game yet. And so when this came, I was oh, this is what our game is. Cool.
Yeah. It's kind of fun working on the earlier missions in the game, but at the same time it's a little bit more stressful too, because if your mission breaks, you're holding up crit path testing for everything past that. So
yeah, that's a thing we QA does where yeah, it's just like, okay, let's try and play through crit path, which if you don't know, critical path is just like the things you have to beat to actually complete the game. So just like side activities, not critical path. Main missions, that's crit path. Yeah, I remember there was we had like a lot of crit path testing.
Yeah.
This is my first project, so I don't have reference for like how much is normal crit path testing, but I'm guessing for everybody there's a lot of that.
Oh yes. Yeah, that becomes a mainstay for pretty much every game. Can we get through the game in its entirety? I remember some past projects when I was QA, that was my job, was we got a new build, can you complete the game, yes or no?
Yeah.
It didn't matter if there were other bugs, it was just, can you sit down and play through the whole game?
Yeah, I did a decent amount of that when the game was still, like, it was a good, like, year and a half, 2 years ago when I was doing, like, the crit path videos, but back then, crit path was also a lot shorter.
Yes.
I remember it was like, okay, let's see, they wanted to just see how long crit path was, so I played through it, and, like, back then, crit path only took, like, I want to say like 5 or 6 hours or something like that, and then when I finally got to play it again, I was like, whoa, it's way longer. Alright, I already bought these. Grabbing these couple beginning upgrades just because they're like super key to, well, the first one I feel, at least for me, is super key to not dying, just being able to dash and go invisible a lot quicker, and then, you know, increasing the scan range and seeing chests through walls, a no-brainer as well. Oh yeah, since we'll be playing these, this is the first time we'll ever hear, like, the dialogue Gat has for these missions.
Oh,
I've never actually played with him through missions.
Me neither. This will actually be a new thing for me.
Yeah. Here, let's see. Probably throw her in, and then... Yeah, well, we don't want hardtack because he already had... Gat's already got a shotgun, and Gat's shotgun is longer range. Not nearly as tanky as hardtack, but still.
Alright, we got some killing to do.
You don't need tanky if you don't get hit.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. The Manny in the chat just saying, here, Volition, we never play our games until they're actually released. Trust me, I've played it a lot, and also, like, the main reason why I haven't, like, seen Gat's dialogue and missions is just because Gat was put together so much, like we said on last week's stream, Gat was put together really late in development. Like, he was basically made over the summer.
Yeah.
In the last couple of months leading up to launch.
And of course, at that point, most of the testing's already been done for the actual missions themselves.
Yeah. So yeah, at that point, I'm also just making so many videos and stuff, either for trailers or for tutorial binks in the game, that I don't have much time to actually just play the game normally. Especially because this game has so many binks.
Gat reporting for duty.
Perfect. Proceed to the fusion reactor exhibit. The location is on your map. The site will appear to be under construction, but somebody got the reactor working.
We talking about Hammersmith?
That's Gremlin's theory. She's here to provide technical support.
Hey there, it's me. If I'm reading these schematics correctly, we should start from the bottom and work our way up.
I do this every time. So yeah, this mission I played on stream once before. Because this was part of our E3 show floor demo, I think. And so every time I had to record like B-roll of this for E3. And so because of that, I had like this route, and I take it every single time I play this mission now, because it's just ingrained in my mind. Like, I always jump across those specific buildings, pick up that crystal.
You flip out if you've already gotten the crystal and it's not there to take.
That hasn't happened yet, okay. But at some point I bet it will.
It's a big, round, glowy thing.
Soundwave.
What the shit? Something just exploded down here.
Ooh, let's check it out.
So you worked on all the Heaven Sent missions, yeah?
Yeah.
That control unit's
So when you're
all
working
blown
on
to
these missions, like,
sticks. We better
I
have
don't
a
know
look at the
entirely
transient
the
cavitation
division of
chamber.
work for how
I speak
missions
English
are
and Korean.
made.
Choose one.
Should be further up a ways.
Are you essentially
how
working
the
on
heck they got this
scripting
contraption
for them, or are you
Sorry,
also
this
like
techno
working
shit isn't
on?
really my forte.
Oh hush, Windows. Tell me to update my virus definitions. Fucking hell. Is it just like the scripting and events that happen on the mission, or is it also like, do you hand place where enemies are going to be and stuff like that?
It's a little bit of hand placing enemies. It kind of depends on the encounter. So
Okay.
what ended up happening, like for this mission specifically, I believe it started with Stephen Horn, and he basically got all of the scripting in place for where the objectives were and where most of the enemies were. And then we had to kind of split things up a little bit differently. So when I took it over,
This one's overloaded too.
I ended up handling
Glad
a
I'm
little
not
bit more of
standing
the
next to that
combat.
thing.
But then once I got
remember I'm down
overloaded,
here, right?
Will
Next to the
Alberts
explosions?
actually took this
Any clue what's
space
going on here?
and
Either
hand
Legion wants
placed
to blow
most
up
of the
half the
enemies
city,
that you
Okay.
find
diverting
in
the
this
power
space here.
somewhere.
I can't tell you how many
And
times I've had to deal with some asshole trying to blow
Our
up Seoul.
combat system allows
Legion
us
is
to
deploying
either
helltroopers to
hand place
secure the
guys. I want a
building.
guy specifically here,
They're coming
specifically
in
there,
through the
taking
roof.
cover
Okay,
in this
time to
specific
get my
location.
kill.
Yeah.
At the
Or
tip
we
of
can
the
just
tops
say,
where
I
it all
want
hooks
some
up to the
combat
grid.
in this
Better check
general
it out.
area, and then it'll just sort of figure out what should be fun from there.
Okay. Yeah, I was always kind of curious, like when missions are being made, how much is so like this mission takes place in this area specifically. Is that up to mission designers to decide where the missions are taking place, or is that a writer's? Oh god, I forgot the difficulty's up really high, and Gat got fucked real quick. So is on the mission designer's end? Is there any decision like, okay, the mission's going to take place here, or is that like a writer thing, or is it a bit of both?
I think it's a combination of a bit of writing, mission design, and then also the city leads.
Okay.
To try and figure out what area works narratively. Like in this particular case, this first part relies on the sonoluminescent generator, which is
Right.
at the center of this building that's being constructed. And so that all needed to happen here in this space because Hammersmith needs this generator for what's about to come in the rest of the mission. But in some cases it's, we need a spot for you to destroy something, or we need a spot for you to investigate something, and it needs to be somewhere in this general vicinity of the city.
Right.
And so as mission designers, we go, okay, well, this looks like a fun space to kind of have some combat in and work your way through. And,
Okay.
and then we sort of play test that and go back and forth with the leads to try to figure out, is it working, is it not working? Is there a better place that we aren't seeing that? Or should we update the city layout a little bit to better support that?
Okay.
So it's not just one person saying,
Yeah.
hand of God, you will do
Right.
combat here.
Oh god, maybe I actually had to turn the difficulty down. I thought 7 was what I was playing at home, but maybe I was doing like 6. Is the increase from 6 to 7 really that nuts? Maybe it is.
Did you start at 7 though, or did you get your guys leveled up and then start going 7?
No, I started it. Basically, the instant that you can change difficulty at the start of the game, I think I changed it up to 6.
Okay.
Well, should be okay though. Hopefully somebody just drops a Mayhem star so I can get Gat back, because he's like the main damage dealer in my squad and he's already dead. Should definitely get that health though. Oh god.
But at what cost?
Hollywood's life. 11 health. Alright. Oh, there's still one person. Okay.
Don't die to that one.
There we go.
There you
It
go.
also doesn't help that Rama's one I haven't used too much in this
Let's have a
playthrough,
look
so
at that
she's
control.
just now level 3.
Yeah.
I did it though, it's fine.
Friday, check this out. We've got a ton of data here.
Nice work, Gremlin. Agents, based on my calculations, they must be routing the power to the planetarium.
Hey, they're putting on a light show.
VFX especially
Can we
was
check it
awesome
out?
to see come online.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time it was just, oh, look over there, and then it was just big glowy green thing.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that.
And then once the VFX guys took their pass at it,
No jokes about
they just
Uranus.
made that thing phenomenal.
Besides,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
proper
that's so cool.
pronunciation is Uranus. It's a dactyl.
Sorry, Friday. Hey, I'm picking up some weird fluctuations
Man,
in the
jumping across
gravitational
these
field.
two reminds me
Appears to be localized above
what our
the
city
planetarium.
used to look like a
Whoa,
while
it's a
ago,
tractor
and these
beam.
things.
What do you think they're tractoring?
These things used to be a lot
Let's nip this in the bud,
smaller,
shall we?
for one, and also they were just more like floating rectangles with not
Yes.
much detail or anything on them.
What do we have here? See a penny? Pick it
Get
up
lucky
and...
with any.
Yeah.
I got some skins. I was hoping to get lucky and get some more Gremlin tech, because that is a thing I've noticed keeps me alive a lot longer if I'm playing on a difficulty that's way too high for what my agent should be at.
Oh yeah.
I remember there's so we have that VR room as well that has like those combat challenges, and each challenge is like at a set level. And I played one that was like difficulty level 10. I was doing it with level 4 agents, I think. And I was like, wow, okay, this is the first one that's like way too hard for me right now. And then I discovered how useful the bowling ball, the gutter ball gun is.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like, I fired it at like one of the pride bots, the really strong enemies. And it killed one of them in one hit, and then as the ball was rolling, even though it was mostly coming to a stop, one of the pride bots just ran head first into it and then just fucking died instantly as well. And so now it's like my #1 go-to Gremlin tech after I realized like, oh, even when the ball's slowing down, it still does a ton of damage.
Yeah.
We've confirmed Legion forces have taken up positions around the facility. You should expect to face some resistance.
I should turn the lights on the cop car.
The agents
Well,
of
no, you're
Mayhem.
Hammersmith, this is a secure channel.
You think too highly of your technological prowess. Do I have
Yeah,
to
like
come
this
over
this
there
space
and heal
here.
you myself?
So when I was setting up
Hey, there's something
combat
happening
here
in that
at that
outdoor theater
roadblock
area.
back there,
Why,
Yeah.
there was a lot of back and forth between the scheme lead and myself to try to figure out like what felt right, what was
Access to
kind
those
of enough of a
controls.
distraction
I've launched
to
the
be
location.
fun without it being so much of a distraction. It became frustrating.
Right.
And then we're also looking at it narratively from the, okay, well, why are they actually here in this space? What are they actually doing there before you get there?
Right. Oh, good, a Mayhem star.
Hey,
Hooray, I can get Gat back.
just don't kill Get again.
Yeah, I'll have to be careful here.
Yeah.
Remember what difficulty level I'm playing on.
So yeah, when we're placing these guys here, we're trying to figure out, okay, if you weren't there, what would they be doing?
Right.
And what would make sense for the space, what would make sense for them, and then how can we turn that into something fun for the player?
Yeah. There's... I've just thought about like game design stuff for forever just because I play so many games. I'm one of those people who has to like keep a list of what I haven't played and what I have played because I have too much to play. And so like, I remember like the year before I started working here when I was like, I was self-employed and like, just working from home and stuff. And I was like, oh, I beat in the year 2014, 86 games.
Oh, gee.
So I think about how games made a lot even before I started working here. But like, there's sometimes there's just things that just seemed like I have no idea how this could actually possibly like get made.
Hold on.
And sometimes it
Let's
just
secure the
seems
area.
like it's like how some people are like, oh God, I need to start drawing something, and you just stare at a blank piece of paper and you don't know how to start.
Yeah.
That's what it was like with me, just thinking like, how do people design missions? How do people know the thing they're making is fun?
A lot of guesswork.
Yeah.
And once you've been doing it, kind of like drawing, right? Like once you have been doing it a little while, you kind of have your rhythm to how it works and how you work.
Yeah.
So you have this sense for, okay, this will probably
Oh, good, yeah.
be fun, or at least close enough to fun that I don't have to scrap absolutely everything about it.
Right.
And the winds of Uranus blow at speeds of over 5.
Oh, I forgot. This is the place that teaches you about armor and shields, and I don't think I have anybody who can damage armor or shields.
Oh boy.
I mean, they can. They just don't have the specialization to do more damage to them.
I can't divulge
Unless
my
Gat already
but
is
let's
armor
say it's of
piercing, but I
relevance
forget
to my
what he
current
is.
employer.
Whatever's
Just
in
have
that
not played with
comet, I
Gat very
don't
much
want
yet.
Legion to have it.
Oh, really? And how exactly do you plan to stop me?
Let's see, people are talking about shotgun ranges and whether or not you can extend hardtacks, and you can. It's just with one of his gadgets. It extends his range, but also kind of reduces the amount of damage his shots can do.
Console. Shut it down, Agent. We need to deactivate this tractor beam.
Oh, please, don't flatter yourself. My head.
Fucking hell. I just wanted to see how much damage Gat would do. Oh, man.
My shield.
Woof, that does a ton of damage on this level. Oh god, Rama! Keep it together, everyone. Go invincible for a little bit. Do some of this. So yeah, here's a good reason why you actually want to have some kind of squad that might be a little balanced. When you're on higher difficulties, stuff like this happens. It's like, oh god, I can't do enough damage in time.
Oh, cover.
Break a leg.
Rama missed. I whipped that real hard. Almost. Oh god. These guys are here too. Okay. Yeah. Whoa!
Oh boy.
Wow, you got the
There
shield
you go.
down.
I did that.
Hack the console.
Oh god, missile still.
Don't try to.
I'm glad once you stun him, he stays stunned, because I could just imagine this being like, oh, you didn't push that button quick enough. Well, I'm back up. Better take down a quarter of my shield again that's regenerated.
Okay, time for plan B.
Alert, Bode. First proposal.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. Gat is the armor-piercing one, but he's dead.
Amusing at first.
Oh, do I have a mulligan, though? That would bring him back.
Just don't kill him again.
Yeah. No, I don't have any mulligans right now.
But now you're becoming a nuisance.
Damn it! He rerouted the controls again.
He's running out of consoles,
I should
Friday.
probably switch Rama to, like, just the arrow that does a lot of damage and doesn't do any status
We'll have
effects.
this
So I
tractor beam
can
down in no time.
get through him a little quicker here.
Are there any other planets we could learn about?
The mysteries of
Wouldn't stop whiffing her special. I have a gremlin tech that would be real good against him, maybe. Corpse Explosion, Death from a Dove, Plague Sample, Jelly Roger. Well, that gives me Fortify. How
That'd at least be
good does
something.
Death from a Dove? Oh, I don't actually have any of those anymore. Here, I'll use this.
Always help you survive.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, it won't. They were
I said
all
a little
willing.
bit, not all.
A little bit. Like, immediately getting cocky.
Oh,
Whoa! All right.
11 health.
Down to one agent. I have no mulligans or anything, so.
Oh, health. Get
Oh,
health.
oh. All right.
Don't whip.
Yeah. Or Mayhem would be great for this anyways, because it's a single target. Okay. Doing something here. Just go invisible when he starts doing that, I'll be fine. Just wait it out. Still nicked me a little though. Almost got him. Holy moly. There we go.
almost. We're good one.
Yes.
There you go.
The
shield is down. Go for it. Now's your chance.
It is all in the timing.
Uranus and solve this enigma once and
I like that I made a tutorial really hard. Just by cranking it up way too much.
This is no mere tractor beam. This is the Hammersmith Graviton Induction...
Okay, I'm curious if I can get this gutter ball gun tactic to work, maybe.
We're almost there.
Just...
Keep the pressure
gutter
on.
ball him while he's floating?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna try and do. Oh wait, my cooldown. Okay, here we go.
in March 1781.
That hit him. it did a couple thousand.
Okay.
Yeah, it did like 2,000 damage to him. Oh, get headshots, please. There we go. I really wish I had one of the Dove Gremlin techs from Gad's DLC though, 'cause I'm curious. Because there's only one target, so it'd just be all the Doves dive bombing one man.
Like I said, if you die right now.
I didn't think Rama was going to be the one to carry me through this, but she did.
That's what you get with a level 3 Roma.
Yep. Invisibility and just timing your shots.
You, Hammersmith.
Time to shut this whole thing down.
1,000 kilometers in diameter.
Yeah! We turned off the tractor beam.
Brilliant work. Now to figure out why Legion wants that comet so badly.
Don't be so pleased with yourselves, Mayhem. You are not going to like Plan B.
Years.
El Rose in the chat also saying Rama saved his ass in that fight. Man, I gotta be way more careful with Gad.
Yeah, I was not expecting him to die that fast.
I forget what his shields and health are at. He's level 7 too, like. It's good.
Suits
Long
me.
ago, the ancient Greeks worshipped Uranus.
So when you were working on these, you didn't. For the first two, you started working on these after somebody else had done Stephen Horn, right? Did a decent amount of work on them? Okay.
Yeah. So when I took him over, a lot of the objective scripting had already been done.
Okay.
But the combats needed to be touched up a little bit and kind of fleshed out a little bit more. And beyond that, it was just general maintenance, bug fixing, that sort of stuff.
You started working earlier on the third mission, though, right?
Yeah, the third mission was when I came onto the project. The third mission is what I started with on the project, and it's primarily the big moonbeam laser from space.
Yeah.
Once more,
Because when I took it over, the targeting logic for the laser was fairly simple. It did the job for showing its intention, but it wasn't as fun as it needed to be.
Okay.
And so I was trying to figure out what that logic was and how it needed to work.
Fine.
Was
I can do this all day.
a couple months worth of iteration.
So when you first started working on it, were there any major differences in like how the mission played out? Or was it... Because I think I remember the mission being fairly similar to what it is in the final game.
Yeah, the actual mission objectives haven't really changed that much from when I took them over. There's more just how many enemies were involved, or like that planetarium fight there started out as something a little bit more simple, and then it went through several iterations from a couple people to get it to the point that it's at now. You didn't even fight Hammersmith.
That's right. Yeah, that's the. I just remember that. Yeah, you used to just fight some guys and like.
Yeah, you'd get there.
You'd hack the terminal and that was it.
Yeah, you'd hack the terminal. Some guys would come around the next terminal. You'd hack that one, and then you'd go back to the last one, and you're done. And so we wanted to just in general have Hammersmith be a bit more of a presence and a nuisance in the mission,
right?
As opposed to just showing up at the very end of the last mission for the scheme.
Yeah, I was really happy also to see him get added in there. Because also that mission didn't teach you about shield and armor damage types at all. Like they put him in, made him like the tutorial for that. But It's also cool, like something similar to that. As I remember, our Doomsday weapons. When you play through the game and like you're destroying Doomsday weapons, sometimes like some of the bosses will actually appear and fight you for a little bit. I remember that didn't used to be the case. I remember just playing one day and like, oh, Ariadne just jumped in out of nowhere, like unexpectedly. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Persephone's lackeys have disabled my tractor beam, but no matter. As we speak, the Hammersmith orbital mining platform is now on an intercept course with the Cermak Comet. And with its powerful space laser, I shall...
One thing, when we were in the planetarium, I still remember when the Uranus lines came online.
Right.
Because we're sitting in a review meeting with leads and directors, and we're literally just standing in the planetarium listening to Uranus jokes for a good 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, I remember hearing that, you know, or not hearing, but just getting the build and seeing like, oh, there's some guy talking the planetarium now, and I was like, okay, when is it gonna loop? No, really, when's it gonna loop? Okay, there's the loop. Like, pretty far in.
Yeah, Jason Scott did a fantastic job of finding many facts about Uranus.
We'll find him.
I seem to recall this mission we're playing right now was
bloody hell.
kind of different earlier on in development. It's been so long, I'm trying to remember like what was different about it.
And don't get hit.
I can't quite remember.
I think the main beats of go to the impact sites and
all right, listen carefully.
Vehicles in the dungeon and everything the same. The logic of how the meteors come down has changed a little bit from the beginning.
Most of the debris is vaporizing on impact.
We also had to do a sequencing pass on when the OIs would show up and when certain BO would play and when we would redirect the player with GPS. And so some of that logic kind of changed there as well, so that it'll wait for that first meteor to hit, and the first meteor will hit, or should hit, in front of the player before the player reacts.
Okay.
And then the mission kind of continues from there.
Yeah, I remember like when that mission was first like getting like going online in the game, like the really early version. I remember there were times I was asked to like capture and show like, you know, the meteors crashing being really cool, but with the way the meteors work, they were like crashing a lot, but like always like not where I was looking and stuff.
Yeah.
Use your scanner.
Also, I played this mission so much I don't even need to scan for the things. I just know where they are.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh, excuse me, that's the other one. I went to the other one first.
I'm just silently judging you over here. It's okay.
What can you tell me about this rock, Friday?
The fragment resembles Legion's dark matter resonance crystals. There's another not far from your position.
Even Mike knows.
Use your scanner to find it.
All right, actually, our community developer, Mike Watson, is on vacation this week, so we actually have Lexi.
Hi, Lexi.
Being the moderating for us. Thank you.
It worries
you didn't even introduce her at the beginning, so I
have a real bad,
I look like the idiot.
I have a real bad issue, like always remembering to introduce Mike at the beginning, but I have a much easier time at the end, and I don't know why.
You can find it with your scanner.
It's just because you're so excited to play.
Maybe. Straight over here.
I found a body.
He was a hell
we actually got these assets in for like the destroyed building, because before those went in, it was just, oh, here's this building with a dead body on top.
Yeah, there was
here's this fragment of a meteor just sitting on the ground.
Yeah. Vehicles are now moving away from other impact sites. I'll figure out where they're going.
Those little things in development when you've been like cranking away at it for months and months, and then you just get that one little bit that kind of pushes it over the edge of your body.
Yeah, it's really weird how like lots of things, even though when like lots of things in this game when we were working on it, it was like, okay, it's like 95% there, but it doesn't feel right yet. And then like a tiny little thing that gets put in it or changed is like, oh, this is what makes it actually feel good. And it's so weird that like that small amount of work is what makes the large amount of work feel good.
Some crazy crystal formations right along the shear line.
The dark matter crystals are made in Legion laboratories.
Yeah, but this one's from outer space. Weird, huh?
Come on. I'm gonna get you.
We're gonna have the Jaws music playing anytime there's a chase.
There we go.
Damn,
got that one.
You see that?
Hey, you! Be gentle with my automobile.
Quarter mile, get off this channel. Agent, I'm tracking a second vehicle. We have another shot at this, but the fragments are unstable.
Asking if crunch time is as hellish as they hear it is. Do you have to crunch much on this project?
There was a point where I had to, I did a tiny bit of crunching, but for me personally, it wasn't that bad. It was basically just because it's just kind of the nature of, versus just straight up super crash. It was just the nature of how the video worked for this game, where it's basically like,
it must be a problem with the fuel tank design.
I can't record, like, you know, like if you go in here and look at the gadgets and stuff, I can't record these binks until the things look final and like they do in the game. So a lot of things ended up looking finished around the same time. So it just kind of turned into like, you know, okay, I'm gonna crank out like 30 to 60 binks a week or whatever. So there were some times where it was just like, I just personally felt like I have nothing else to do today. I want to get more of these done quicker, so I would just stay a little bit longer and do more of these.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of depends on what you're doing on the project and the project itself, because there's been projects I've been on.
Quarter mile, off this channel now.
Maybe
All right, stay
a couple hours here, a couple hours
I
there.
tracked down where these
And then there's other projects that I've been on that
appears to be a secret
it wasn't a mandatory crunch or anything. I wanted to put all of my time into it to make it as good as I possibly could.
Yeah, there have been a couple of times where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, like, I have permission to, like, you know, stay and, like, work even longer on this thing, and I wanted to, so. I did that for a couple of the enemy intro cutscenes that are in the game, because there was just a couple where it's like, I really want to make this happen this way instead, but it's just like, you know, would need a couple extra hours here and there to make it happen.
Yeah, there's
Said
definitely there's definitely some studios where crunch is worse, so it's really a case by case.
The entrance may be
this is the first studio I've worked at, so I don't really know too many
Look for a window or a balcony.
the stories. It's just, I've heard from, you know, the game dev stories from 20 years ago in some game. So easy to get critical hits with GAT. I forgot how. Like, I'm not even really trying to aim for their heads. It just works.
Yeah, so like this combat here, I was talking about the place versus just spawn dudes.
Yeah.
The guys that are placed here at the start are actually placed. Everybody else that comes in after that is just systemic. It's just, I need extra guys to come in and fight the player.
So
and it picks a spot for them to come in.
Are you still telling it what types of enemies?
Yes.
Okay.
So in this specific case, I wanted those enemies so that they would close on the player and get the player to move, versus hell troopers in this space tend to just sort of hang at a distance and tend to make things not as dynamic. The player can just sort of sit somewhere and pop them off.
Right.
But the swarm troopers really get the player to move around a bit more.
Yeah. Oof. There we go.
So I just killed somebody. Wasn't there a lair I was looking for?
Use your scanner to find the entrance.
Am I supposed to be undercover here? Because I got a lot of unconcealed weapons.
Was cut
I hacked their
pretty much
security
just right
database.
across this
They'll
building.
think you're Legion.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
whatever works.
shock trooper couldn't figure out how to cross it. And so he'd come in, and if you stayed on this side of the room, he just wouldn't move. He would just stare at you and do nothing.
Okay, I think I remember that actually happening when I was trying to capture for his intro, maybe.
Yeah.
Or at least an earlier version of the intro. Because I also had like prototype versions where we were just trying to figure out what those intros would look like. I remember there was something else goofy that happened when I was making the intro for him. Oh right, it was
me at the planetarium.
There was a
How unkind.
Just give me the rocks and I
originally in the intro for that enemy, the tank trooper.
The feast is far above your tiny little heads.
He would start off on the roof, and he would do his ground pound through the hole in the ceiling. But that's how I did it for the prototype. But after like a lot of changes happened in the game, was like a lot more closer to being finished. He wouldn't do that through holes like that anymore. So that's why I had to change him to spawning in the room, which was more consistent anyways. Because like back then it was just like in that mission, like he would just kind of spawn in randomly in different spots, and this time it was like, oh, he spawns here.
Yeah.
So it was more consistent than having him jump through the roof. But I remember I was like, why isn't he jumping through the roof anymore? And so I in the dev console I was able to just like target him, and I found the exact animation file for him doing the jump and ground pound. So I like bound those actions to keys on my keyboard. So it's like, okay, I'm just gonna force him to jump by pressing the J key. And what happens is it plays the animation, but it doesn't play like the physics with that. Yeah. So he would jump, but the animation is just jumping horizontally and landing, you know, the same distance from where he started, or same height. And so he would jump and he would land just standing, floating above the hole in the ceiling.
Leave that alone!
That was like a baffling hour or so I spent going like, what? Huh? What? Wait a minute. Until I figured out like, oh, it's just the animation.
Yep. Someone was asking about the stream room.
What about it?
They're wondering why we're still in this room and not the new, amazing, awesome, spectacular stream room.
We are not in the cool stream room yet because I just need to get the time to like actually move the stuff. We're still wrapping up, or rather I'm still wrapping up work for some other AOM things. Like, you know, some people have been asking like, oh, we'll be able to see next DLC Agent Lazarus anytime soon. And like, yeah, I was actually just fixing some bugs for like the Binks for her tutorial. For fixing some bugs for her tutorial Binks and all that. So yeah, I'm still working on stuff like that. You know, the game's out. Yeah, I really want to be able to move soon, maybe in like 2 weeks or so. But like when we move, we're also gonna have to like stop streaming for like 2 weeks, so I have enough time to get everything situated and fix anything that may break, which will almost definitely happen.
You mean things might break when you have to move a whole bunch of equipment?
Oh yeah.
That never happens.
We've never shown it on stream, but like so when we built our stream setup, it was with the idea that it was going to have to move at some point, or we might want to stream from different rooms for different events or something. So like it's in a giant black monolith that's on wheels, which is nice because like you can just unplug a couple of things from the outside of the case and wheel everything else while everything's still plugged in. You don't have to like reset it up every time, but it's also quite large because of that, and it also pumps out a lot of heat.
I have sent my best trooper to kill you.
It's very hot.
Your best,
yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're moving to a new room, because this room gets really warm.
Mayhem. Show them no mercy. These miscreants die here.
So this dungeon was really, and Children put a lot of time into structuring this dungeon.
Yeah.
And so I think there were some like basic elements of what we wanted it to be, and then at one point it just didn't work perfectly. I think we needed to either shorten something up or explain something a little bit better, and so we sort of went through a little bit of a revamp and had taken over a large chunk of the dungeon work.
Yeah.
And so she probably spent the last
your trophy for
several
participation.
months kind of tidying things up in here and actually making them interesting and fun.
Something I've also been wondering, this is probably more of a question for somebody who worked on combat, is just like, again, like going back to the idea of like having to make a mission fun and how does that even happen, is also just like, even if you're designing the mission, that also just kind of means that like you're also relying on the actual way the enemies behave to be fun. And has there ever been something where like you design a mission a certain way and then it's just like, oh, the enemies don't work that way?
To be fair, a lot of times when I've had that happen is because I misread the document.
Okay.
So, Fortune's personal mission, this is just the first one that comes to mind.
Some of that test data?
I had a request from the combat guys. I'm sure you've probably had some on the stream before. And it was like, oh, it'd be great to have...
what about this console?
I think it was the tank trooper or something. Yeah, it'd be great to have the tank trooper in this for this fight. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, I'll add that in here.
Yeah.
And then it was a little while later that it came up that they didn't want the tank trooper, they wanted the buff trooper, or vice versa.
Right.
And so sometimes it's just that the combat guys do their pass and they go, these are where combat's feeling a little bit off. Maybe you should change it up a little bit. Use swarm troopers instead of hell troopers, or use shock trooper here, or use this arrangement of guys. And other times it's just, I think hell troopers will work. And then they end up just sort of standing there and you end up playing whack-a-mole. And I go, that's not as fun as I was hoping. Let me mix it up a little bit. And then the combat guys say, okay, that's great, but if you do this, it'll be even better.
Yeah. One of the things I really enjoyed, speaking of like whack-a-mole though, is the recruitment mission for Rama. I really like because it's at a set difficulty level, and she can, even without headshots, for the most part, her bows mostly charge one shot the stormtroopers here. Not stormtroopers, hell troopers, and that does feel pretty good because like other people have noticed, her bow is really satisfying to use, and it just feels good when you shoot it. And so like having all these dudes constantly like dropping from the sky and you're like shooting them dead before they can even land, you just see their dumb ragdoll body just fall to the ground. It's pretty satisfying.
Which it's kind of hard to time it, but if you can time it at just the right time where they're doing that final thrust down to hit the ground.
Right.
If you can kill them right at that moment, they have all the physics of being pushed down, so they just slam into the ground.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before. Yeah.
My preparations are now complete.
I think my favorite thing, like with regards to like goofy ways that enemies can die, is like when
villains gotta gamify everything.
Because the swarm troopers jump at you a lot. Either they do the jump and then slash at you, or they do the jump straight up and like do those are the blitz troopers. The blitz troopers are the one that jump straight up and just like, do that side to side with their guns.
Right.
Either of those are great when you can either kill them while they're doing that, or if you can like disrupt them with a headshot while they're doing that, because they both just like flop really hard to the ground.
I am confident even you can master the controls.
QA finds all the lovely bugs that you just don't even think about sometimes when your head's at, because that lift that raises the crates up to the street,
Good to see you again,
there was no
I've sent you a vehicle
prevention
to
in there from the player getting on the lift before it made it all the way up.
All right.
And so just, we put this thing in, and then a month later or so, we get this bug that the player can get stuck.
Correct me if
Where
I'm
the hell,
wrong,
you get these screenshots of this
vehicles.
weird room that you've never seen before, and then you watch the video, you're like,
yeah.
Day for a drive, isn't it?
Proceed to this rendezvous point, Agent. A science team will meet you there to inspect the containers.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that our QA testers have frequently recorded I mean, they have to provide videos for a lot of those bugs anyways.
Good
like
work,
you mentioned,
Agent.
but I'm really
Our
happy
science team will
that
have
so
a
many
look at
QA
those
testers have
fragments.
kept videos of the funny bugs, because I've been able to use so many of those for our streams, and it's like my favorite part is just really goofy bugs.
Yeah. Yeah, the end of that mission went through a lot of iteration as well, because...
Just the driving the truck part, or...?
The driving and the truck part went through some iteration, because there was actually a lot more dialogue that was going on from Hammersmith. And so we were trying to figure out ways to increase the length of the drive without making it boring. And then after a little while, we just sort of went, okay, does he really need to say all this stuff? Or can we kind of break it up a little bit more and then do something at the end of the mission that kind of pulls it all together?
Yeah.
Without just, because if you just drove to that location, you'd get out of your car and you just sit there for 30 seconds while he was just talking and talking and talking.
Yeah.
Chose it for your stupid rendezvous.
God, yeah, that's something I've wondered too. Like, some games, like, aren't always able to, like, fix this issue, or sometimes with much older games it happened a lot more where it was like, oh, you get the amount of distance you travel from A to B is shorter than the dialogue they write for it, sometimes by a lot, and it's like, if I just go to B and trigger next thing, their dialogue just gets cut right off.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, that must be really hard to, like, plan around.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about open world games like this, where it's like, oh, we want the player to go this way, but
they can go any way.
Technically, they could go any way they want to. So
yeah,
what's the worst case scenario?
Yeah, what was I gonna say? So like in the missions where it's like, you know, it shows you the waypoint, are those still the waypoints just automatically made in the game, or are there any missions where like the waypoint is manually like designed to take you a certain way?
Generally, we just say your objective is there and we let the GPS take you there, whichever way that is.
Yeah.
Get run over by a car, I can just see it now. So that's what we generally do. Yep, there it is. We generally just say go here, we let the GPS handle it, just because if the player doesn't follow the GPS, trying to keep track of, okay, well the player didn't follow the GPS, so now we actually want them to take this route instead.
Right.
It can just be a nightmare when it comes to trying to script and account for all that stuff. There's a few exceptions where it's like, okay, we need you to approach this thing from this way because there's something important that happens beyond it, and if you go the other direction, you're going to have to, you know, swing around in a U-turn or something, or you're just going to miss the explosion or whatever it is we want you to see. So there are a rare few occasions where we go, we really would like you to go this way if you can, but we don't necessarily stop you from just saying, screw the GPS, go around this way.
Yeah, I do remember last time you were on, I can't remember if it was you or Stephen who was talking about, maybe it's Stephen, talking about how, like, especially like in the intro mission, like the game's telling you to interact with this or go this way, and you can like skip a lot of those.
Yeah, you can just
they had to write dialogue for that.
Yes.
With some rad VFX here.
Yeah, this temple, when I took over Heaven Sent 3, this destroyed temple space was just some gray terrain that was just a crater with a couple pieces of rubble in it.
Yeah.
And once we finally got this asset in there with the amazing VFX, it was just, okay, yeah, this looks a little bit better.
Yeah. It especially looks cool now just because, so, you know, we're playing the PC version, so we have some of the other, like, settings on, because, like, normally when you're on console, there are less reflections, so like the screen space and the planar, like, the planar reflections, like suddenly it's like, whoa, you know. Yeah, there's a couple PC settings that make, like, especially nighttime, look really cool with all the extra reflections and stuff you get on the road, especially if it's like wet road. Then it's just like, just make everything wet.
Yeah.
That's like,
Is that where I'm supposed to say that's what she said? Or
maybe? I don't know. But that's a thing I noticed like early on in this generation of games coming out for the PS4 and stuff. It was like, whoa, suddenly everybody has really nice like shaders and materials and stuff for when it's raining or when it's wet. And it just feels like it's like one of those things where it's like, we gotta make everything covered in water.
Yeah.
Because it just looks so cool.
Reflect all the things.
Yeah, we can do some nice reflections now, so it's like, let's put them everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Well, not everywhere. We have some restraint, but yeah, those are the first 2 missions of Heaven Sent. Hopefully at a later point we'll be taking a look at Heaven Sent 3, because that's a fairly long one. And probably talk a lot about that one just on its own.
Of course, it depends how many times you die to the space laser, too.
I'm pretty good at avoiding the space laser. I've had to record the space laser a lot, just because that was a thing we had early enough in our game that was like, oh, here's something we could record to show to people, go like, look at this cool thing that's happening in our game.
I think there was a time where I was maybe one of a few people in the whole studio that could actually get past it, because it was unforgiving as all hell.
Yeah, I definitely remember there was a part where it was like, the space laser was pretty brutal.
Yes.
It was pretty accurate and would hunt you down.
Want something with extra pockets.
And if like you ever got like, if you just drove and crashed into something, or if like one of the scared pedestrians T-bones you, knocks you into a corner, it's like, oh no, I'm stopped.
Slams into you.
That laser like just immediately goes like zoop right on you. It's like, oh god, by the time I pick up speed, it's gonna be blowing me up.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the first 2 missions. It's cool hearing people talk about mission design, because that's something I've not heard too much about, like in game production. It seems like, have you done mission design on other games?
I'm trying to think back. I've done mission design on things that haven't shipped.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a little bit of mission design. It was technically scripting, but I was also helping out with the mission design on the project as well for the missions I had assigned.
Because I'm just thinking about it. It just seems that like mission design, depending what type of game it is, would be like vastly different how you would work on it.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking like, oh god, how do you do mission design for something that's not a third-person shooter? Is more like a brawler or something.
Yeah. Yeah. The very first game that I worked on was Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare, and it was I was helping with the co-op campaign missions. Right. And so the perspective was the same, and you're still talking about a third-person shooter, but the actual gameplay itself was entirely different. You're talking about, more of a tactical shooter, much more lethal, and there was a lot less forgiving if an enemy spotted you.
Right. Whoa, get out of there. Yeah, I'm just curious, like, for something that seems like, there'd be a lot of overlap. Even at, like, open world and third-person shooters have some overlap, especially since most open world games are still based around shooting. That was a good flop that guy did. But then it comes down to, like, oh no, an RTS.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't even know how you would... Like, there's some things where it feels like the mission design is so intrinsically wrapped around how, like, the combat also works that it feels like you would need somebody who does combat as well to, like, properly plan out the mission or something.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those genres really take an intimate knowledge of, okay, what is fun about combat and what is frustrating about it, and how do I avoid the frustrating things?
Always remember to follow proper gun safety protocols.
Capitalize on the fun aspects of it.
Just can't take back.
I'm really happy that guitar riff made it into our game.
Yeah.
Because, like, that was a thing that got introduced a little bit later on when, like, marketing materials were starting to get made and stuff, and then it's like, boom, we can have this Agents of Mayhem song. It's like, oh my god, can we have the guitar riff in here? Oof. Oh, you unlock Global Conflict. Guess I'll set this up before we call it a day with the stream here. I don't think I have any agents. Oh wait, okay. Let me just. Well, the beginning ones only take like 10 minutes anyways, so I don't think I really need to like get out of my squad just so you can do it in 5 minutes. You can just send Fortune. 13 minutes ain't that bad.
Yeah, send hardtack.
Oh, I can only send one at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You gotta get those upgrades from the agency to be able to deploy more people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the first 2 missions of Heaven Sent. Hopefully we can talk a little bit more about mission design and stuff in the future as well, because that's something I think is super interesting. So, yeah, we should be streaming again next week, and then probably after that we'll be taking a 2-week break or so-ish. I'm not entirely sure yet, so that we can move all the stream stuff and get the new stream room set up. Maybe 3 weeks, I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to like be cautious and be like give myself enough time, but who knows? But yeah, we stream every week at twitch.tv/dsvolition at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific, every Thursday. If you want to check up on AOM and the DLC, whatever that comes out for it later, we are AOM the Game on Twitter, AOM the Game on Facebook, and our website's also aomthegame.com. And I'm Josh Stinson, the video editor here at Volition. And we also had
Randy Nash, senior technical designer.
We also had Lexi covering for our community developer Mike, moderating the chat and stream today. So thanks for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lexi.
And yeah, we will see you next week with a little bit more AOM, and then in the future, perhaps we'll branch out and do some other goofy stuff. Because all of a sudden, people have been like, "Hey, I got this real goofy game. Can I play it on stream?" It's like that does sound pretty good.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, thanks for coming, and we will see you next week. Hey, everybody.
Bye.